Hello, this is Brian Lofton, and I'd like to talk a little bit about bad habits and why we tend to do things with ourselves, to ourselves, that are not in our best interest, that are not, worthy of us. We might eat the wrong foods, we might eat sweets, we might eat fattening foods, we might not exercise, we might associate with the wrong people, but we do things that make us unhealthy, whether it's consuming bad thoughts, consuming bad language, bad literature, bad news, bad food, anything that's not ennobling, anything that's not edifying for us. And I wanted to talk about this by way of a metaphor that is replete through our society right now, ringing like a bell, like a cracked bell. Our country right now, politically, we have a huge divide. We have people on one side of the spectrum and we have people on the other side of the spectrum. In reality, we're all mixed up together as a common people of the United States of America, if you happen to be an American citizen. And we've polarized ourselves, and we're fighting amongst ourselves, a lot of us, hopefully not me. And we have the people, and we're fighting, and we're not well. We're inflamed. We are ready to go to war, to go to battle, to argue, to take the high ground, to take the low ground, to antagonize other parts of ourselves in order to achieve some kind of outcome that we feel is most beneficial. And with the people, the proletariat here, you have the funneling through the vote, hopefully, up to people who have authority who can disseminate what happens to the people down here that are fighting. So these local government, local leaders, church leaders, religious leaders, spiritual leaders, and then as that goes up, of course we don't vote for some of those people, but I'm kind of lumping everybody in together. And then as it goes higher, then we have the powers that be up at the top, and people like the president in this country, or Congress, certainly the judicial branch of the government. And what affects those people, as we all know by common knowledge, are businesses, special interest groups, the lobbyists, the ones who get to funnel their money up at this level or higher up and to influence what happens up here, and then this cascades down to all the people. So what we're seeing right now, and I'm just going to say this, I usually tell all my clients that I don't like taking sides, but we have a current administration, and really all of them to some degree over the passage of time have been guilty of this. This one in particular, I think, seems for most people beyond a reasonable doubt that we have a lot of money influence and capitalistic influences at the top impacting the choices and decisions of our current president and his extended family, many of whom are in the White House. So, ego mind. So I'm going to kind of bounce it back to the human body, the human form. So the metaphor here is the United States and the human body. So I'm going to hopefully try to bridge those gaps. And you'll see why, hopefully, if I do my job well. So at the top, we have this wealth mindset and the accumulation of wealth, and it's popularly thought that a lot of our very well-to-do, well-off, the rich, the top 1%, have accumulated this vast hoarding of resources, and the decisions that they make oftentimes are not good or even concerned with the people down here. Now, communism recognized that the people are the workers. The working class are what made all of this possible. Nothing done up here, much, really drives what happens down here, except these people say, I want this product made, or I want this service, and these people respond to make that happen. But these people are going to be doing what they do regardless. They're going to exist. They're going to be poor. They're going to be unfortunate. They're going to have things happen to them. They're going to live their lives, and they're going to be happy, or they're going to be sad, or they're going to be whatever they are. But the people up here only exist because these people don't have. So when we look at indigenous cultures around the world, for the most part, we find that the people that were up here, the chiefs, the leaders, the kahunas, the whomever, they were the ones that gave away. They didn't have earthly possessions like you might expect for someone in their place of power. So they did for the people. It was the people were first, and they could follow the chief or they wouldn't. It was very diplomatic. They could either go with that person, and if that person betrayed the trust, they would leave and they would maybe find someone else to lead them. So it was very egalitarian, it was very equal. And now in the last, few thousand years, we have leaders who have power. And the power is concentrated at the top. And the power will do what it wants to do regardless of what the people do. Because if these people are destitute enough, then the powers that be will find some way to keep them happy and placated and still get what they need from those at the bottom. Now, if I've offended you or lost you at this point, I apologize. I'm not trying to make a discourse on methods of economic worth or value. What I'm trying to do is to get to the next point. The human body is organized in the same way that our government is organized to a very large degree. I'm not going to make a comparison between the three branches of government and three branches inside the nervous system, but someone could. I will say that the impetus for this metaphor and me saying all this is that the other morning I woke up to get the kids ready for school with my wife, and I just rolled over and I was talking about maybe some of the decisions that she's made that haven't been for the best for her. And I said, I'm coming from a place of similarity. I do the same kinds of things. The ego mind, the pain body, the one that needs to rise above the pain, rise above the challenges of life, of being a parent or a worker or someone who's suffering because they're helping an incapacitated loved one or an elderly or whatever it might be. Work is stressful, single parent, it could go on down the line. We make choices for this body based on what immediately fills the current desire. Life isn't sweet. I need to get some sugar. I'm going to put some sugar in my body. Doesn't matter if it causes me stomach ache or distress or causes me to gain weight, causes me to be inflamed. It doesn't matter because I want something sweet. I want a donut. Or I want a beer. Or I want some champagne. I want to do something that makes me feel good. But the immediate gratification takes the place of the long-term need, which is to eat food to live rather than living to eat food. So we make these decisions at this executive level of, I want something fun. I want, I don't have to take responsibility for it. And we see that actually, if I could draw it back to the executive branch of our current government, is that we have a president whose extended circle and family don't have to take responsibility for the decisions they're making for the people. But they have responsibility to their shareholders and the people who might otherwise benefit financially from the decisions that they're making. And I'm saying all this not as an attack, but just that I believe that it's just patently obvious what's really going on. And anybody who says otherwise, I think, really could stand to look closer. So back to the body again. So we're kind of bouncing back and forth. The cells in my body, the trillions and trillions of cells in my body, are doing the dirty work of making me, it's literally dirty in a way, of enabling me to make this video, to go and treat people, to have my 3 cats that are bouncing around the room, to be a father, to do all the things that I do, and I scarcely give it a second thought. I don't think about all the cells that are in my liver. I don't think about the hepatic duct. I don't think about my dermis. I don't think about my lungs if one is filling up well and the other one is not. I don't think about what's going on. I take it for granted. The people get taken for granted. When my body has had enough sugar, enough liquor, enough coffee, enough cocaine, enough bullets, enough war, enough medication, enough of a smell, anything, whatever, tired of being overweight, tired of being underweight, tired of being out of shape, tired of whatever. It causes me pain. It causes me to take the proverbial Molotov cocktail and grab my attention and say, look, you need to make some changes. So why should I let it get to that point? Why should I let it have to scream at me to do this thing? Go to the gym. Quit eating gluten. Hold off on the meat for a while. Maybe stop the dairy, a little mucousy. That's the big question. That's the motivating question for all of us, I think. When we really get down to it and we want to know, if you're watching this video, you probably have some interest in feeling healthy or feeling better. So you might, this might be speaking to you. Why do I do the things that I do? Why does our government do the things that it does? Why don't the people speak up? Or how do the people speak up? How do we communicate with what is above to get the attention to stop just doing things for the ego and start really listening to the people? And I will say this, I think that on all portions of the political scale, there are people who feel disenfranchised. They feel like their leaders are not speaking up for them. They're not taking care of them. And I think that's true for the people on the right side of the spectrum, and I think that is true for the people on the left side of the spectrum. Most of us feel left behind. And we can affect the macrocosm by affecting the microcosm. We can affect change in the world by affecting the change in ourselves. My world is inflamed. I'm also inflamed. In fact, as I'm making this video, I've stayed home today. I actually have a bit of a cold. It's my first one in about 12 years. And I've been asking myself, why am I inflamed? What is the message here? And I'm not trying to go like into, it's not about forgiveness. It's about really taking a look at what is happening within my environment, internal, external, what's happening here in my mind. What is my ego mind doing that I shouldn't be doing? What is my pain body doing that wants to continue doing what it knows, which is to feel some sort of discomfort? These kinds of things factor in. So that's a very healthy thing to do. Now, I will take all of this even further, and I'm going to talk about, because I know this is a long video already, craniosacral work. So craniosacral work is all about bringing people home. This midline through here is home base. And any martial art, when we get away from that base, it's easy to push us over. It's easy to like, oh no, wait, well, oh, now I can get knocked over. Or tilted back, whoa, and then there you go. It's easy to get somebody to the ground if they're not centered, which is its own metaphor, right? So if I go to see a therapist, so many great modalities out there. You get acupuncture, you can get, you can go to a dietitian, you go to a chiropractor, you can go to a craniosacral therapist, you can get Rolfe, you can do all kinds of things. And good therapy, I think, brings us home to this midline right here, whether it's the heart, the spine, the brain, even where, the ventricles of the brain, start producing spinal fluid through here, but of course back in my head. And it's in that midline area, and this just, it goes it gets made, it goes down the back of the spine, blah, blah, blah. And I actually teach my students this meditation about the spinal fluid production and how it comes in it's the circulation of the spinal fluid. That's another story for another time. So to wrap up, what do we do with what I just said? Well, if you're interested in this, I would say find ways that you can come home, so that the Democrats don't pull you this way and the Republicans don't pull you this way and the president doesn't pull you this way or grab you somewhere you don't want to be, that you're able to stay home, because that, if enough people did this, and I'm not trying to ascribe to some religious practice or Zen or Taoism or Buddhism or anything like that, but this is home. And if we can do that with whatever modality you choose, and meditation is probably the best one, but if you can see a craniosacral therapist, if you want to get your nervous system online by being present with it, by existing with it, then all of the things that happen, not just externally but internally, can calm down. It's a wonderful way of communicating with the plebiscite, the people, all of the people that are part of this democracy. So that the president, the oligarchy, is not making all the decisions for this, but all of it is making a decision collectively for what is best. All of it is making a collective decision for what is best. And I don't know of a modality that happens with somebody else that is more attuned to that kind of practice than doing craniosacral work. So I invite you to explore that. I invite you to meditate. I invite you to do anything that brings you here, that drops you into you and away from the world at large. And maybe in my case, it was getting sick. I haven't been, I haven't felt like this in years. And in some ways it kind of feels good. I don't like it, but the messages are very nourishing and healing and have actually inspired this video. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please contact me, 828-200-6717. You can also email me at cranialworkinfo@gmail.com, or you can also visit my website and find out a little bit more about me there. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you hanging in for 18 plus minutes. If you made it to the end, congratulations and my deep thanks.